Do you want to film your course or maybe even go live and have your video look totally pro? Well, bit of a stupid question really, because of course you do. You've seen others create great looking videos and that's what you want your videos to look like. But you're not sure you can. I mean, all this technical stuff, camera settings, all this lighting, setting up your audio, all this complicated stuff. Do you really need to learn all that just to create good video? I mean, does it really have to be this hard? Well, no. No, it doesn't. Stop getting bogged down with all that. By the end of this video, you'll wonder why you thought shooting professional video was hard. And because I like to help my fellow course creators, in this video, I'm giving you a little tool that I use when I'm shooting on my own, which makes it so much easier. But first, I'm Andrew Sweeney. And if you want to make your videos look totally pro, hit the like button and smash the subscribe button too. Now, recording a video, to make it easy, I want you to think about it in 3 parts. That's it. You've got online identity, setting everything up, and filming. So let's start with online identity. What is it? Well, these big fancy pants companies call it branding. But whatever you call it, this is the thing that's often forgotten when you start creating your videos. Everything, and I mean everything about your video, it needs to be intentional. You've got to make sure that the image that you present on camera, it resonates with the audience that you're trying to attract. If there's a secret to why some people just seem to be able to attract an audience, this is it. Because, like it or not, and we all do it, we form an impression within the first couple of seconds of meeting somebody, and this sticks. But the good news is, if you know that in advance, you can totally control what conclusion your audience come to. So, before you jump on camera, think about it. Think about how you're going to act on camera. Are you going to be all serious? Are you going to be light-hearted? Maybe even conversational? Think about your tone, think about your pacing, think about what message the background in your video creates, and then think about what you're going to wear, and then craft everything so that the impression you're giving off appeals to the audience that you're trying to present to. Okay, moving on, let's talk about getting everything set up. Now, before you start getting carried away shooting video, get yourself organised. Believe me when I tell you, this will save you so much hassle. You've got to set up a simple folder system on your computer. You're going to be creating a lot of files, and you don't want to be wasting time getting frustrated, hunting down files, or even worse, losing them. You want to, or at least this is how I do it. I set up a folder for all my raw videos, and then what I do, I create a series of subfolders, one for each lesson. Good idea to use something, say, like Dropbox or Google Drive for this. Then if my computer crashes, at least I know my files are safe. What I do is I actually shoot my lesson, I shoot it in segments, and then I edit it together later. Once I've recorded a lesson, what I do, I then transfer all the video segments from my camera to that folder on my computer. And I'll do this after I shoot every lesson. Don't, and I beg you, don't spend hours recording lots of lessons and then download them all at the end of the day. If there's a problem with, say, the camera or the SD card or whatever, you've wasted a lot of time. And then when you've downloaded all the lessons, just pop the card back into the camera and then format it ready for the next lesson. Oh, but make sure that you've got everything off that card before you reformat it. When you've downloaded your videos, you've got to find that your camera's giving you these really unhelpful file names, which makes it really confusing when you're editing and trying to piece together your video. What I do, when I hit the record, I hold up a white card with the video name on and where it fits in. So later, when I'm reviewing the movies, I can just rename them from the info on the card that I held up at the beginning. Getting organised like this, it's going to save you a lot of time and a lot of stress. So, now we've done that, let's talk about setting up to record. It's showtime. Let's get your studio set up. But, Andrew, I don't have a studio. Okay, you may not have a dedicated studio just yet, so what you've got to do is just pick a place in your house that's going to work for you. Now, you want it to be quiet and you don't want distractions and you want the room to sound right. Now, some rooms, they just sound too echoey because they've got lots of hard surfaces and that's not ideal. But other rooms with carpets and drapes and lots of furniture, soft objects, well, they're going to sound a whole lot better. You can even buy special acoustic blankets that you can hang up. These really help. They make the room sound a lot better. And they're not expensive. And when you get going, you can build a custom studio like this. But to start with, it's all about making the most from what you have. And when you've found your recording sanctuary, it's time to set up your camera. First, you're going to want a tripod to hold your camera. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. You want to position your tripod and then adjust your camera so you're framed correctly. You want to be in the centre of the frame. Ideally, you want it to be set so that you're filling the screen. Now, don't zoom out too far or you'll look tiny, or zoom in too close because that just looks weird. You want to have the top half of your body showing so you see hand movements, and you want to leave yourself a little bit of headroom. When you've got your camera set up and you're framed correctly, then it's time to make sure that you're in focus. Now, the easy way to do this is to get somebody to just sit in for you and then adjust the focus to get it right. But what if you've not got a stand-in? What if, like many, you're on your own? How do you make sure that your camera's focused correctly without somebody to stand in for you? Well, what you need, or what I use, is my focus buddy, and he's under here. There he is. Well, it's not really a focus buddy, it's just a focus card that I created. But it works. And I'll put a link below so you can download it and print it out if you like. What you do is you just fix the focus card to a light stand or something like that. And then you place it exactly where you're going to position. You want to be setting it so it's where your eyes are going to be. It's your eyes that you need to make sure are in focus. Once you've got it set up, now you've got a nice target to set your focus on. But when you're setting your focus, don't trust this tiny little screen on the back of your camera. It's just way too small. When you've adjusted your focus and you think it's right, do a test. Record your stand-in or your focus card and then review it on your computer. Make sure everything's nice and sharp. That way, you're 100% sure your focus is bang on. So, that's your focus sorted. But what about all those fancy settings that you see on cameras? F-stop, shutter speed, ISO. To start with, you can just use the fully auto mode on your camera. And if you've not got a fully auto mode, no problem. I did a beginner's video to camera settings to help you. And it's really easy to follow. I'll put a link below. Anyway, with the camera all sorted, let's look at lighting. Now, you don't need to get fancy here. The easy way to do it, to make your video look totally pro, is with just 2 lights. You only need 2. Well, 2 lights with an optional 3rd light. And this is known by professionals, would you believe, as a 3-point lighting setup. Here's how it works, and I use this all the time. We've got the main light, and that's set at a 45-degree angle. And as the name suggests, this is the main light. It's the brightest light. With the magic of editing, I'll just turn off all the other lights. There we go. That's the main light. This is what the main light looks like on its own. Kind of looks like a horror movie. We've got all this shadow going on. So to remove this shadow, we need a fill light. I'll just turn that fill light on, and there we go. That's now reduced the shadow. Now the fill light is set at the opposite direction to the main light, again at a 45-degree angle. The fill light, it's either dimmed or it's either further away. It's not as bright as the main light. And the purpose, like the name suggests, is to fill in the shadows. And then the optional light, the rim light, sometimes called the hair light or the backlight, if I turn everything else off so you can only see the rim light. There you go. You can see it just lights the top of my head and gives me a bit of an outline. I'll just turn everything back on. Oh, that's better. Now the rim light, it's mounted just above my head, slightly back to give an outline. It gives a little depth to the shot, and I'll put a link to my lighting setup slide below so you can download it if you like. So, we've got your camera set up, we've got your lighted all sorted. What about audio? Let's talk audio. You know, if your lighting's not 100% and if you're not perfectly framed in the shot, your audience, they're not going to really mind that much. But the big retention killer is poor audio. Now, if you're using a desktop mic like say a Yeti or a Rode like I've got here on a boom arm and you don't mind that being in the shot, maybe that's the look you're going for. You're gonna be just fine. The problem with these mics, if you move them out of the shot, they're then too far away. The audio, it won't sound great. These mics, they've got to be about 6 to 8 inches away from your mouth for these to sound good. So, If you don't want the mic in the shot, you've got an option. You can go for a shotgun mic, and that's what I'm using here. It's just up here, just above my head, just out of shot. Or the other solution that I really like is a lav mic. I love the Rode wireless Go mics. You just plug the receiver into the camera, you clip the other one, which is the transmitter, with a built-in mic to your shirt, and that's it. Quality audio without the mic in the shot. Now, before we wrap up, let me give you some tips that are going to make it a whole lot easier for you to create your videos. Don't try and record a lesson all in one go. Record it in sections. If you look at one of my scripts, you'll see that I chunk it into sections. I actually call them acts. I'll record each section and then just piece it together when I'm editing. It makes it far easier to do. It makes it easier to keep your energy up and sound engaging when you're just delivering in short sections. This is exactly how I did this video. I can review each section before moving on to the next. I can adjust my tone, my pacing. It's far easier to adjust when you review the last take. And if you don't like it, you've only got to reshoot one small section and not a full lesson. And lastly, the last tip that I'll give you, and this will save you a lot of time. If you can't leave all your equipment set up permanently, before you dismantle it, mark the position of your camera, mark where it stood, make a note of the angle of your lights, your settings, take measurements, take photos. If you don't, every video you shoot is going to look different. To build engagement, you need consistency. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this has really helped you. So, until next time, bye for now.